All right, welcome to Stateside Gooners, everyone. We are tonight. Uh, Man, we're covering a bunch of stuff. Basically, the round of 16 so far. We're on season 2, episode 146, and it's our World Cup round of 16 special, or at least round of 16 so far. Um, we haven't been here in a week. How have you guys been?
Oh man, I've been having a great time. I was on leave away from this crazy area. I missed all the heat. You guys got to suffer through that.
We did.
That must have been awful.
One of the roads that's concrete, kind of right in the middle of DC and Baltimore, buckled in the heat twice.
Whoa,
Yeah.
that's bad news.
Major road, like not far from BWI airport. So yeah, it wasn't great.
Ouch.
Yep.
Not good.
It was a long weekend, though. I'll take that day off.
That's right.
Because you never. Yeah.
They said that, I don't know how true this is, but I was told by someone who isn't an expert on this that normally, like, DC fireworks, like the federal government fireworks in DC, are like 20,000, give or take. What's the word? Like things, that get fired off one way or another. Like, and that it was like 800,000 this year. So in addition to the heat, there was also suburban Maryland, suburban Virginia, and DC an air quality uh, warning for people who had bad lungs and bad heart and whatever. So
Just awful.
anyhow,
I mean, I was way down south and it was cooler there than here.
yeah.
I mean, that's crazy because it was still pretty darn hot there, so I'm not
Yep.
gonna lie.
I was talking to a guy this morning who said he was in Nashville and it was like 20 degrees warmer here than it was there.
Oof.
Yeah. So I want to go through this round of 16 so far, culminating in this Columbia Switzerland game, and thoughts go out to our friend Jorge, who is Colombian, and his team lost. So we're thinking of you, buddy.
Penalty kicks, man.
Yeah. And we'll get through that. So I'm going to try to go in order, but the U.S. is going to come out of order. We'll go through real quick all the other games. If real quick, we'll see how it goes. This is still Stateside Gooners, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the debacle that was our game, the U.S. game. But I have a friend at work, Jack, who is a relatively new soccer fan. He was a goalie in college, in high school and college. He was recruited to a private high school and then went to a college. And any college in Maryland has very good lacrosse program, and he was a goalie and very good. But new to soccer, and he had a couple things he wanted to say. So he sent us an 8-minute video, or audio, sorry, and I'm just going to cut some slices of it, and we're going to play those now. And then if you want to hear the whole thing, I'm going to put it at the end of this episode, and you can listen to the whole thing, and I would recommend it. So I think he's representative of the average new American football fan. We're trying to keep dead face so that. All right, I'm going to blow through these, and I want you guys to just talk about these games. So let's start Morocco, Canada. Canada had some chances in the first half, couldn't make them count. 39 minutes was Hakimi. He got kind of touched, falls down in the box. I would call that a dive, but it ended up in a fracas. He gets a yellow card. Basically, I think he dived. Canada didn't like it. 50 minutes, breakthrough. Set piece play, and goalkeeper looked like that goalkeeping dive. The little kid, the ball goes in the net, and then he dives.
Oof.
It felt like that. 82 minutes. It was a sort of cutback, Cruyff turn, smashed in 2-0, and the last kick, pretty much of the game! Exclamation point for Morocco to beat Canada 3-0. Anything?
I was excited after the first Morocco game versus Brazil about Ayub Bouadi and the links with Arsenal. I was like, oh, he looks like a player. But since that first game, I haven't been as thoroughly impressed, and I thought he was, especially in the first half, just passed over. Didn't seem like he was really trying, and while he played well, I still see his age there. So I'm not as excited as I was a couple weeks ago with him.
And how old is he?
He's just 18, so he's got a while to go. But for the price tag on his head, over 100,000, it's
100 million.
100 million, yeah, 100 million.
Yeah, that's insane. And he's at PSG, right?
No, he's at
Lille. That's right.
Lille. Yeah. Okay. I knew it was in
Lille,
France, but yeah.
Of Pepe fame.
I don't want to talk about France Paraguay, but I have to. I don't use the word hate very often. I think it's a very strong word, but I hated this game. This game was probably the most negative football I maybe ever saw played. Paraguay, they embarrassed themselves. They embarrassed their nation. And I know that France didn't score except for the penalty kick, but I really felt like they stayed composed. And the conversations after were, they tried to get us off our game. They tried to out-muscle us. They tried to out-effort us. And we proved that we can win with style up until this game. And now we proved to ourselves and the world that we can win a hard game that's rough and tumble. So, watch out for us. It's kind of what everybody was talking about. I can never watch Paraguay play again. This game was awful.
I'm not sure they even came to play. They, were diving all around. They attempted less than 100 passes and completed just over 50% of them. Everywhere was a dive or a push or an elbow or some sort of theatrical art that was just killed the game. There was no actual game there. Very one-sided, if you wanted to even call it a game.
Well, Paraguay was playing the only way that they knew how. I mean, they were playing exactly the game that they played against Germany to get to the penalties and then win it there with that goalie is freaking huge.
Yeah.
I think he could probably reach both sides of the net with his hands. His wingspan is massive. This is a large man. So yeah, that's the only way they know how to play, and that's unfortunate. And they employed those same tactics and hoped for the sort of result that they got against Germany, but wasn't to be. And I think the World Cup is better off for it.
I think we can say that things were said, but I really don't want the quote here. Do you want to talk about that at all?
I just want to say that the team was awful, poor sports, and I think it follows their politics as well. Their politicians are sore losers and just not good people. We'll leave it there.
You put a note on here. I heard you say earlier that Paraguay had less than 100 pass attempts. And how many touches, which, kind of doesn't exactly equate to passes, but what was going on with Mbappe?
He had, by himself, almost 50 touches. He was passing the ball at a pretty good clip. I think it was 22 for 27 passes, 5 shots, 4 on target, 1 goal, to talk about your goal funnel there. So it's just, I think you kind of compare Paraguay not even attempting to play to their center forward. I think we'll get a little bit later to Cristiano Ronaldo and how he played and some of his statistics, but that's the elite there, and that's what you're comparing yourself to. And Paraguay has nothing on them.
Yeah. Anything else, Matt, on that one?
No, no. I don't think there's anything else to say, really.
No. Yeah, I agree.
But, I do think maybe it's worthwhile to touch on the left winger for France. Gosh, why is his name escaping me all of a sudden?
Barcola?
Thank you. Barcola?
Bradley Barcola, yeah.
Bradley, yeah.
because the time that I watched, because I wasn't able to watch this whole game. I was at the beach and came back in and was able to catch a little bit of this. Um, the time that I spent watching the game, I did focus on him because I do know Arsenal are interested in him as a player and as a left winger. And I must tell you, I was not impressed.
Nope.
Especially for the price tag. He was now, we talked about Paraguay and their tactics. They were truly focused on being physical. That's what he's going to face in the Premier League. We're not in France anymore. This is the rough and tumble of the Premier League. You're going to get bullied. And he seemed to fall down. He seemed to not be strong enough to get around the Paraguay players. So not impressed.
There are lots of people who died in France in the past week because they also had a hot week, and way hotter because in Europe a lot of countries don't have, their buildings are so old they don't have air conditioning, so a lot of people died. But maybe he can do it in the French heat, but can he do it on a cold night in Stoke?
The cold night in Stoke.
Yeah, there you go. England, Mexico. For me, and I guess you're going to ask me this later, but for me this was an important game to watch. I don't know the exact stat, but something like 75-15-2. So whatever the number is, you guys can look it up. Listeners can look it up. But they lost, to me, the standout was twice at the Azteca and not in 13 years. It had been 2013 since they lost. Pickford and Jimenez, he of the metal plate, had a nice battle in this game. Jimenez wins the penalty kick, but pretty much Pickford won all the other opportunities. So that was a fun to watch. Mexico dominates the first 35 minutes against the run of play. Hey Jude gets a free header. I can't believe he was left alone. We don't even get a chance to catch our breath, run to the bathroom, go get another beer, whatever it was. And Hey Jude gets another, and he has his brace, something like 95 seconds later. Mexico gets one about 4 minutes after that to keep themselves in the game. I felt like Bellingham could have done more. The ball kind of popped out, and if he was paying attention, that guy kind of ghosted him about 3 or 4 yards in, and that's the guy that scored the goal. Pickford had a bunch of saves towards the end of the half. First half ended with really Mexico just on a romp. Right after the half, I think it was, or was it right before? Because I saw 49 minutes, but I can't remember if it was before or after. But Bellingham comes in very late to save a goal. So scores 2, kind of gives one away. Not quite Tim Reamy, but close. And then saves one. So, he did really good. And then we have the red card from the young defender. And so they're down to 10 men in a game up 2-1. And it's the Azteca.
At altitude.
How
many minutes are left? 35 minutes. I mean, there's a good chunk of the game still to go, and at that point, England is up 2-1, right? I mean, those are the stats when this happens. So you think, is England going to survive this? Right? That's all I could think of.
Yeah. So against the run of play again, penalty kick awarded. Kane smashes it home. Mexico gets a penalty kick when Kane goes to kick the ball, but there's this pesky Mexican leg kind of between his foot and the ball, so penalty kick. Jimenez gets that goal. All hands to the pump for the English, and Mexico are out. So second home nation gone. What do you guys have?
So I will tell you both, as I drove home from the beach location. It's a very long drive. And so I was driving mostly when this is happening, and just driving through this massive thunderstorm and listening to this game on I think it was XM was broadcasting it. So I was listening, and the atmosphere that was coming across just on the radio was absolutely amazing. I can only imagine what it's like live to actually watch. And I imagine I'm only listening to this. How in the world is somebody watching this and keeping their heart rate down. I mean, how could you are invested if you're watching this game?
Yes,
clearly, regardless.
I agree with that. Yep.
You're a neutral. You're invested in. You actually want to see this go on for 30 more minutes and go to penalty kicks, right? You wanted more. I wanted to listen to more, frankly, just because it was so intense and interesting. Plus, I still had a long way to go at that point. But conclusion of the game. The thought that ran through my mind was, how does this match affect these players to have been part of something? And frankly, it was special. This is a special kind of game. This is like a once in a World Cup. We're not gonna have another game like this in the World Cup, I don't think. Do you? I mean, they went at each other. They went for it. They weren't, I'm not gonna pack it up in the, even when they went down a man, England didn't pack it in. They continued to try to score. They continued to try to possess the ball. If, as a player, how does this affect them? Even if you're on the winning side, if you're on the losing side, or just to be part of the game? Is it that special that it can carry you for your career? You can always think back, times are tough now, but I played in that game, and I played really well in that game, so I can do it again. Or is it something else?
Kevin?
No, I think there's so much adrenaline pumping through their veins. You could see at the end of time, Rice laid it all on the line during the game. At the end, he didn't just crumble with the back pain, with the spasms in his hamstrings. He sprinted halfway down the field to celebrate the win. Like, he still had energy left, and that was just because it's so much adrenaline pumping through your veins, because that was such a special, special game. And I think kudos has to go out to the coach too. I think, there were a lot of questions about his team selection coming into the tournament, but you saw Dan Burn there and why he was in the team. Like, he's launching headers out halfway down the field. He was clearing their lines. I can't help but look at Rice and see how special he is for that team. How aimless Anderson at least was when Rice didn't play in that group game. And I kind of wonder, we've got phenomenal center backs at Arsenal, but how much is really him protecting that next layer back in front of them? I know I'm not going to rag on Gabriel in this tournament, but he didn't look like himself. And I wonder, is it a little bit of Rice? Is it a little bit of Saliba? Is it a little bit of both? I think we don't give Rice enough flowers for what he does.
Yeah. I think you get to know your partner very well. So the Saliba, Gabriel, they know what each other is going to do, and you go to the national team and it's different because you see Saliba's kind of not looking himself necessarily either. He's just got a much better team in front of him and around him than Gabriel did. I think, Matt, that, and I'm trying to watch time, guys, so I don't want to spend too much time here, but I think that you win that, and you're the only team to beat Mexico at their invincible kind. You think of that sort of mindset, right? That you cannot beat them there. You win that game a man down, and you take that with you for the rest of your life, but you take that far with you in this tournament. We can't be beaten even when we're a man down at a place that nobody can win. We did it, right? We did it. So I wouldn't have thought them to be a favorite. If you ask me right now who's going to win it, I say France. But I'll tell you what, if it's they got to beat England to get there, to get the win. It's because after this win, that's a big one. Norway, Brazil, penalty kick to Bruno. And I got to say, when he missed it, I had to smile, not going to lie. Cunha coming off at 59 minutes made me smile. What a shame he wasn't having enough impact to even make it to 60 minutes. Another big goalkeeper save. I don't remember the goalie's name, but huge save on Bruno again. I think it was from 7 yards, 70-ish minutes, whatever it was. Neymar comes on. So I just kind of shook my head. He was useless in the 20 whatever minutes, 30 minutes that he was on. 79 minutes, Braut Haaland scores, Erling Braut Haaland. That's what the back of his jersey said, Braut Haaland. So shocker that he scores. 85 minutes. Goalkeeper makes a save, the Norway goalkeeper, on this deflection that's going in the net. And he has to kind of run back and like tip it out and over. Incredible. That could have made the game a tie. 91 minutes, Haaland on his weaker left foot, finger quote weaker, from just outside the box, rips one into the far post. Gorgeous. And then somewhere in like what would have been the last minute of the game, there's a penalty kick that Neymar gets. And I don't know why Neymar gets it, but he's got this long conversation, a little bit of jawing back and forth between him and the Norway goalie that I think must have been about property on the coast of Rio. And they must not have agreed on like how much the value of that was going to go in or whatever, because, you know, it got a bit heated. Neymar scores anyway and the game's over. So no more Neymar in a World Cup ever. I don't think he should have been in this one, but whatever was being said back and forth between them was kind of comical. And the fact that he felt some joy in scoring a meaningless goal that was the last kick of the game.
Yeah, from an Arsenal perspective, the Gabbies not necessarily having their best games. And again, I listened to this one as well and was really disappointed when Holland scored the first one, and even more so in the second. It didn't sound like Martinelli was having any impact at all. He was disappeared. So, you know, as you thought, well, maybe the Japan result and scoring that winner for his country was going to sort of propel him on. But just as we've seen with Arsenal, he scores big goals or does big things. The next game he vanishes. So that's who he is. And, you know, that will require further inspection throughout the summer.
Yeah.
I think it was interesting that he played in like the number 10 role with Paqueta out. He was the one that was playing number 10. I thought that was pretty interesting. So he was kind of floating around the field, picking up passes in the defensive half. So it was probably a new role to him. Maybe that's a little bit why he underperformed. But I think the whole team in general, when you don't have a number 10, that's not Brazil. I expect Brazil to have a half dozen number 10s.
And he's not that guy.
He's not. He's the low-touch winger that's going to beat you for speed, and that's about it.
Yep.
And so having him be Brazil's 10 in a knockout game, that was so anti-Brazilian I didn't know what to do. I thought on the other side of the ball, Odegaard showed what a number 10 could be on Brazil. He just ran the show. He had like 125 touches of the ball. And, you know, after the game, all the Brazil players were just glowing about his performance. You know, Vinny saying that he controlled the game. Bruno saying, hey, he's amazing. He's an outstanding on the ball, and he never feels under pressure. That's a Brazilian right there. That's not a Norway player. That's Brazilian, and that's what they were missing this whole tournament. They didn't have that player. And so now when I go back to that comment about Buwadi in the first game, I'm less impressed about that performance after looking at Casemiro, who did no favors for his defense. He was not a defensive midfielder. Bruno played pretty well. Who else played well? Vinny had a game winner in one game. He didn't play well in this game. So, I don't know. I was disappointed with Brazil.
How much impact did Haaland have besides scoring 2 goals?
He didn't have many touches. He had
21, 22. I mean, 25 tops. That's what they said over the radio. So not many.
Right.
But then compare that to Ronaldo. If you've got a few touches, you only have a few shots, you got to make them count. He makes them count.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he does every time.
Anything else before we move on?
I don't think so.
Spain, Portugal. Watching this game on the highlights, and I like the way they do those 4-minute highlights on Hulu from Fox. half the chances in that game, and it was one after the other, were in the first 15 minutes, and then the other half were over the next 75 minutes. So it was kind of like really exciting, thinking you're going to get this like back and forth, and then it just kind of slowed down. And if you had 8 chances in the first 15 minutes, you had maybe 8 for the rest of the game. And so it was a 1-0. And who scored the goal?
Olé. Mikel Marino.
Mikel Marino, right? Willie. So say it out loud, say it proud. Another Arsenal guy scores a goal. Yeah, so no more Ronaldo. He's out of this World Cup. He's out of all World Cups. Hopefully we don't have to see him again when he's, 45?
Yeah, but he's said this before, hasn't he? Where that was his last wasn't that last time it was his last World Cup, and he cried, and everybody took the photos then too.
Yeah.
And they took just as many this time. It's like, geez, I don't even see the guy cry. We've seen this before.
So Argentina, Egypt, if I have to pick, what's the best game, this is definitely in it, right? The best game of this round. It's definitely in the conversation. 14 minutes, shocker, Egypt go up. It's a contested header, and the Egypt guy has giraffe neck, so he stretches out and he gets the goal. 21 minutes, Messi gets a penalty kick that he's taking. He should never, ever, ever take a penalty kick again, period. He's really bad at it. He actually, it's like his kryptonite. So he misses a penalty. A couple strong Argentina chances in the next 10 minutes or so after that. Big save by the Egypt goalkeeper from Alvarez, about 8 yards out. 58 minutes, Egypt score again, but they call that back about 117 yards all the way back for a foul that happened way in the back. So no goal. About 10 minutes later, give or take, Egypt scores again. So they go up 2-0, 23 minutes left to go. Game's well in hand. Right?
No.
79-minute headed goal gets the Messi's back into it. It was really messy up until that goal. 82 minutes, almost a game-tying goal. 83 minutes, the ball comes in, bounces around, sort of a pass. Guy shins it backwards. Messi, it's up around his knee, his waist, like it's high. He gets over it, blasts it, slight deflection, and goes in under the bar. Beautiful. Tied 2-2. And then right towards the end of the game, I didn't put a time marker on it. Alvarez, I think it was, lofts a back post cross in to Enzo, who made a very late run ish, but he heads it to the far post and they win 3-2, having scored, I don't know, probably in about 10 minutes, 3 goals, give or take.
Yeah,
and they win the game. Yeah. So that was incredible. And I think thinking that you've got the game won at 23 minutes and losing is an absolute utter collapse from Egypt. Messi's still in the tournament, by the way.
Absolutely. You could kind of feel it in the second half. Up until the water break, they just were dominating. Argentina had the ball in the final third. They were giving away quite a few counterattacks, and so there was, even to the last dying embers of the game, I think there was one where there might have been like a 2 or 3-on-1, and the Argentina defender just poked a foot out, saved it, and then, on the next foray forward, Argentina stole the ball away, crossed it down the right, long pass, got the cross off. It was just back and forth at the end, and either team could have won it, and there's only one team winning it. It's the Messi's.
Jack, actually it was. He kind of lost this question over the cube wall at me, and he says, is Egypt Argentina, would that be a big shock if Egypt won it? And I said, there's no way Egypt's going to win it. He goes, they're up 2-0 right now with 20-something minutes left in the game. And I was like, that's not going to happen. They're not going to win it. Like, there's no way they're going to win it. But you would not bet money on that, but it would be a massive shock for them to win it. So of course they did. But
and just to look at Messi, because I want to counter the points here. Holland, 30 touches. You had Ronaldo, maybe 20 touches. Messi in this game had 91 touches. Old man getting involved in the game, passing at the 80-90% rate, 5 shots, 2 on target, 1 goal. If you're going to be focusing your team around an old player like him or like Ronaldo, that's what you want to see. Someone who brings other people into the game. He gets the assist to start the comeback. He gets the goal to tie it up. That's GOAT material right there.
He also played in this game. He didn't play right wing, and he didn't kind of play number 10. He kind of had a free role. He played a lot what would look like kind of an 8, like a deep lying playmaker, like a deep 8 or an advanced 6, something like that, which is really weird to see him that deep and carrying the ball out. But they gave him a free run of the midfield a lot of that game. So I think one of you guys can say that Colombia Switzerland was boring as fuck, and then for a long time, and then someone missed a penalty kick, which is a shocker, and Switzerland come away with that win. But I mean, I didn't watch the game. Again, people at work were like, "What's going to happen?" I said, "This is going to be a tight game." I don't know if there's going to be a winner at the end of 90. I didn't watch it. I'm glad I didn't watch it now knowing what happened. But anything either of you have to say about that game besides poor Jorge?
I was watching, and at halftime, the commentators were like, "This is going to extra time and shootouts. This is just boring. Nobody's trying."
Schmeichel. That was Schmeichel's comments. Yep. he actually called it before the game. Yep. I think he said, "Yeah, this is just going to go to. Let's just take him to penalties right now."
Yeah. Grumpy Pundits was Tommy, Rodney.
I don't know the other guy.
And I forget the third guy. And they asked them all to make a prediction, and all 3 of them predicted 0-0 at 90, and they all 3 predicted that Switzerland would win somehow. So, yeah.
Wow.
At least that's what I remember hearing. So, yeah. All right.
Yeah, I will say this. Colombia had a serious chance in the second part of extra time. All the guy had to do was pass it around the goalkeeper into the far net, and unlike Marino, this guy couldn't pull it off. And I don't even know where he shot it. I think he went over the bar.
Yeah, that was
bizarre. It was absolutely bizarre. It's like, I think I could do that. Left foot, just hook it right into the. It was well worked. The chance was well worked, and he should have finished.
I wanted us to be done all of this in about 15 minutes. I was hoping for better, and so we're about half hour in. But let's do this Belgium and you guys. That's what I called it. Belgium and you guys, USA guys. I'm going to run through this real quick. It was horrible, but I want to talk about the finger quote punditry. What are we thinking about? How are we feeling? So USA opened really fast. They had a shot that got saved around 5 minutes. It was a really good start, but around 9 minutes, Tim Ream forgets how to defend, and right in front of the net, goal goes in. Belgium's basically 5-3, 4-2-3-1 against a 4-3-3, where we didn't drop 2 guys into the midfield. So they were 5-3 in the midfield and dominating. Onana gets subbed out, an injury, and he had a knee brace on at the end of the game. So Vanaken comes in. Yeah, Vanaken comes in, and we get a free kick around 31 minutes. I said in a text, this is good for us. Vanaken coming in is good for us because Onana can really dominate in a way that Vanaken can't. And then Vanaken deflects the header into the net and, 1-1. Of course, you get what? I don't know. 2 minutes later. And what do we say every time you score a goal? What do you have to do?
First 5, you got to consolidate.
First 5, right? So first 5, you got to, and then you just take them 5 minutes at a time until their level comes back down, right? Until they're like sort of at that normal, not pumped up, whatever. And of course, 2 minutes later, they get a goal and they're back. They're back up. Then Matt Freese forgets, not Matt Freese. What's his name?
Oh no, that's his name.
Matt Freese.
Remember the name, folks.
Matt Freese forgets how to goalie, and Tim Ream. He either forgets how to be flexible or he's just too old to be flexible. And that was just the most ridiculous thing I've seen in a really long time. I mean, that's the kind of thing that,
Yes, you
like
said it to Benny Hill. That's exactly what you do, and you
exactly.
play it over and over again
Yep.
because it's so pathetic.
59 minutes, Christian Pulisic quits on America.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Who knows how much his foot was hurt with that. I mean, he did kick Tielemans' foot, the back of his heel.
And Tielemans was nothing wrong, Matt. Come on.
Yeah,
he got kicked and was
away.
Fine. You know, so I think Christian Pulisic needed to be able to say, look, I did my best and these guys fucked it up. But that's not at all what it was, you know. And
can't say he did it.
After the game, he was flat. You know, when they talked to him, he was just talking and he was just monotone and just kind of like, I don't know what I'm supposed to say, but and he said all the things that you'd expect somebody to say who just lost a World Cup game like that. 82 minutes, Balogun gets a break and shoots it right at Courtois. So I was like, he needed to come up with something right there to justify him being in the game when he wasn't supposed to be. And of course he didn't. 93 minutes, Lukaku scores, makes it 4-1. Right at that moment, they go to camera and they're looking at the coach and the bench for Belgium. And the Belgium coach, he does like this, like he zips his mouth shut looking at the bench, but they don't care. The coaches are kind of like trying to stay calm, and to go from 3-1 4-1's not that big of a deal, but the players all did the fist kind of dance that the U.S. president does, making fun of the U.S. president because he's the one that got Balogun back in the game. So after the match, the Belgian national team's official X account had images of Lukaku celebrating, and the words that were on that post were "overturn this." And within a few hours, it had 3 million views and 155,000 likes. So there were a lot of people around the world that saw it, and they all got it, man. We'll talk about it, but whether he should have even been in the game. Pochettino, today we didn't show our real qualities as a team. Maybe you did. We never connected with the manner of the game. It's true we were not the same team we'd been during the tournament when we showed quality. It was a very bad day. Sometimes it happens. But when it happens in a World Cup, there's no safety net. You're out. You have to go home. So U.S. is out. No more host clubs in the tournament. So nobody has home field advantage at this point. That's it. In fact, I don't know who's the closest team. Is there a team from the Western Hemisphere still? Argentina.
They could be the closest.
I think that's it. Yeah. So let's just go through this really quick. Balogun gets this red card. I accepted the decision when I was given the red card. Then I also accepted the decision when I was told I could play, he said. There's not too much else I can really say on the matter. I think all that being said, Belgium were a better team today. They played much better than us, I feel. Today, we didn't have a good game. For me personally, I accepted the decision. So he said that. I think that's about all he could say. I mean, they told me I can't play. Then they told me I could. What am I supposed to do?
Right. I mean, he can't run away and hide and say, I'm not going to play this game because I'm not supposed to. Of course he's going to play. It's a World Cup. You want to play in these kind of games. This is what you live for, as a player, right?
Yes.
I've told you both, I didn't think it was a red card to begin with, but that's separate from what happened afterwards. I didn't think he should have played in this game at all because you abide by the rules. These are rules of law. This is what happens. You get a red card, you're suspended for the next game. Period.
But that guy 40 years ago got allowed to play.
Well, and they pull out some rule that says we can suspend the suspension. Is that what they
but Ronaldo, who got a 3-game suspension and served 1, and then could play in this tournament.
Yes, for this cup.
Like,
right?
yeah.
I mean,
it is what it is. Here's my take on this. Okay. He gets a bad red card, right? So you and I were adamantly disagreeing. I thought accidental or not, that's a red card. I have no qualms about it. And I think you could say it for yourself.
Yeah, I think there's a lot that was happening in the game. There was a lot of physical I mean, it was a really brutal game against Bosnia, and I thought the referee didn't lay down the marker early enough to say this is what constitutes a yellow card. If you do more than that, this is what constitutes a red. It's accidental. I didn't think it was a red.
Yeah.
Because of how the ref was refereeing that game.
I think we get that red card, and the U.S. team has a chip on its shoulder.
Yeah. You can carry that.
We're gonna take this into that game. We've got something to play for. We've got something to prove, and then we've got this political intervention. You know, I don't know how deep we want to go into that whole thing, but you know, I mean, everybody's talking about all the things that FIFA has been for years, and that Gianni Infantino was supposed to make go away when he came in, and so none of that has gone away. It all feels the same. That it's a very, what's the word I'm looking for? A very
cesspool.
Say it again.
A cesspool.
Sure. So he's playing again. Balogun's allowed to play. There's this global outrage, and I think the chip that was on the American shoulder turns into this genuine shock. And when they were interviewing some of them, they were like, look, like, I don't even know what I'm supposed to say. Am I allowed to say anything? What am I supposed to? And then, so now you've got this bigger chip that's on the Belgian shoulder, if you will. And so they come into this game, I think, ready to kick ass because they've been wronged. This has never happened before in the modern era. It's crazy. It's the World Cup. It's not a play-in. It's not any of this stuff that was Ronaldo. This is the actual World Cup, and this is baloney. De Ketelaere said when they asked him if it was a difference maker, he said, I didn't think it gave us more motivation. He said the game, you know, being like this is already motivation, you know, from within. He spoke about it. He said, we spoke about it as a team 5 minutes. It wasn't more than that. And because they beat us in March, he was saying, and it was a friendly, and he had played, he was kind of like, you know, we knew what we were coming up against. And so he thinks, essentially the short version is, they weren't scared of Balogun and they weren't motivated by it, but I don't believe that for a minute. Not that they weren't scared of Balogun. I think they were motivated. I think saying they weren't is just cover.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, I'd agree with you.
Yeah, they were planning that from the get-go.
Yep.
It's bulletin board material there, and they followed through on it. They had a little bit of extra energy, and the U.S., I think, like you said, that chip on their shoulder disappeared into, I don't know if it was fear or if it was just scared or what they were, but they didn't come out of the gates ready to play. And it was very evident for those first 22 minutes before the first commercial break. What it is.
Yep. I think, I don't know if they felt shame, but I don't remember seeing an American team try less than this team tried across the entirety of that game. You know, usually you go, we're the underdogs. We go out there and we overperform based on what we should do because we grind it out. We've got American grit, you know, so this was not that. I don't know if they felt shame, fear. I don't know what it was, but they sucked.
Well, can we talk about Poch and his inability to do anything in this match? I don't know if he's hamstrung by players
who he picked.
Right now, is he clearly? Belgium recognized that the American press, that was the thing that was turning in all of these results for the U.S. Lots of pressure. Able to turn the ball over, able to turn that into goals. All they did, chip over it, win the second ball. Like you said, they outnumbered us in the midfield 5-3. They're able to win those second balls, retain possession, and then figure out how to attack this just porous, awful defense. And that happened in the first, as you guys said, up until the water break or the match break. And I don't know if I saw a whole lot of difference afterwards, but it was really evident in that first chunk. Poch didn't know what to do, and I've said it. I didn't think he was the right manager for this. He still is not. He didn't tap into the exact nature that you're talking about, Eric. The grit, that part of the American soccer player, he didn't have it. He couldn't tap into it, despite the plumber clothes.
Yeah. Because he thought the American public would like him looking like that instead of in a suit or something. I thought he was too slow to react, right? I'm watching television and I'm texting people saying, their 4-2-3-1 is dominating. We need Dest and we need Pulisic to drop back and go to like a 4-5-1 so that we can control the midfield again. And you saw Dest come back and we went 4-4-2 for a long time. And then when we came out in the second half, you started to see Pulisic drop back more often and we were 4-5-1. And we had little bits and pieces of play in the second half there where we looked better. But I mean, you go down, 3-1 and they just gave up. I felt like a lot of players quit. I felt like Adams was invisible. I felt like Pulisic, did he score a goal?
No. Yeah. I don't think he scored a goal the whole tournament.
No, he had a terrible tournament. And I know he didn't play a couple games, but the games he played and the minutes he played did not look, I mean, you talk about this guy, that guy, the other guy didn't look like the person we know them to be. He didn't look like himself.
I thought that first game against Paraguay, he played pretty well. He was taking people on. He had his speed. He got an assist in that game. And then I don't know what happened, if he got hurt or what, but there was that game that he didn't play. Was it the second game he didn't play?
Yeah, he came out early on that Paraguay game because he got nicked.
And then he came on as a sub in the third game. He didn't look himself. And then around the 32 didn't look great against Bosnia. And he didn't look great yesterday either. Which
basically means he had about, 50 or 60 minutes? Yeah, he basically had a little more than a half. Yeah. Did he come off at halftime in the first game?
Yeah, they brought him off at halftime.
So he had one good half.
3-0.
I still can't believe that Freeze is better than Turner.
Absolutely not after the comical error yesterday. That was awful.
What has happened to the American goalkeeper? That used to be such a strength, and it's just not anymore. There was Friedel, there was Timmy Howard, there was
Casey Keller.
Yeah, Casey. We had a bunch of really good goaltenders, and that has
25 years. Probably with those three guys.
Yeah. That's true. They spanned those years. Yeah, I don't know what's happened to the American goalkeeper.
Pochettino, his post game, just like the players, lacked emotion. He talked about we win together, we lose together. He talked about family, kumbaya. He didn't say kumbaya, but I feel like it was kumbaya bullshit. He when asked about who put that comment in? Maybe I did. It had no impact. They asked him about the Balogun thing, and he said, "No, it had no impact," which is 100% not true.
There's no way it couldn't. Yeah.
They asked him about, "Are you going to continue your contract?" He said, "I need to rest a bit and think." But his contract, which I didn't know this, his contract is not paid by USA Soccer. His contract is paid by this billionaire. So the USA Soccer could be like, no, we want to keep him on. And the billionaire could be like, well, then you pay him. Or the billionaire could be like, well, I'm not going to pay him anymore. And the USA Soccer could go, okay, we don't want him either. And it's unprecedented. So I don't even know what's on paper and what's allowed and what's not allowed. But the USA has a coach that they're not paying for. So
weird.
USA out. A lot of people, I feel like, they came on this World Cup trip. We're getting good football every single day. Games that the number of games that have been really good games, 0-0s that go to, or 1-1s that go to penalty kicks, really good drama, at least 1 or 2 games every single day. And it just drew people in, The U.S. winning, people starting to realize, well, this third game and just like subbing everybody out, the game didn't even matter. This is stupid. Why doesn't that game matter, right? But then they're in it for the round of 32 and we win, right? And so then this thing happens, and among all of the good games that are going on, this game and the quit instead of fight that this team had, I think is going to take a lot of people that would have stayed soccer fans, football fans, and turned them off. And they're just going to go back to watching NASCAR or baseball or whatever they watch.
Who knows if this wins any additional fans into football? I will agree with you. I think it did pull in. America likes a winner. We'll get sucked in. We'll follow that. The winners, the scorers, the goals, and we will cheer them on like nobody's business. But when times are tough, that's when you see what the real football fans are.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, that's about the extent of it. I think the sport will be better because of what the U.S. did here in this World Cup. I think it will be better. I don't think it's this nostalgic waxing that these folks have. Oh, they're laying the groundwork. All those 10-year-olds who are watching right now are going to be the future, and all. I don't romanticize it like that. I don't think that's the case at all.
I also don't think that's Americans. I don't think they're looking at Pulisic and saying, I see somebody who represents me, meaning, usually say that when there's a person of color and, people of color are looking and going, oh, or a woman, and they go, oh, that's someone who's like me. But I don't think these young kids are going, oh, he's like me because he's American. They're looking at Haaland. They're looking at Mbappe. They're looking at Messi. They're looking at all these players who are scoring goals after goals after goals, or goalies who are making amazing saves. The Cabo Verde goalie and Vitinha, whatever his name was. They're watching that and they're going, that's amazing. I want to do these things. I don't think it has anything to do. I think it's because the World Cup is here, not because the U.S., right? And so the fans that we keep, I think, are the ones who like everything that's going on, even if the U.S. is out. Now, here's the thing. What did I say at the beginning of this little thing? We're getting great football every day. You get outside this tournament and you get to the regular season and it's a game once a week. And is that intensity and that fandom going to stick when they have to wait 5, 6, 7 days between? Now, maybe they pick an Arsenal or a City or a Man United or whatever, and they maybe get a game every 3 or 4 days. It's still not that every day something amazing happening, because you're going to grind out 0-0 draws, or you're going to lose a 1-0 to Wolves who get relegated, or whatever. And so do we keep some of those people? We probably do, but I think a lot of people are going to get frustrated by every game isn't like these games.
Yeah, I think it's the intensity that you see out there for these games. I think there is a different intensity for the World Cup. I don't think it necessarily exists, and that intensity translates itself over 38 games in the Premier League. I don't know how many they play in the Championship. I don't know how many they've been. Just all these games, it's hard to maintain that kind of intensity.
Also, how many people are watching full 90-minute plus extra time games on a regular basis? We are, because we're crazy Arsenal fanatics. But a lot of people consume it in YouTube shorts or highlights. And so they're watching, a 15, 20-minute game on highlight to see Lamine Yamal do some crazy stuff. Or, Messi shoot a blazer from 25 yards out, or whatever it happens to be. And then looking at small little YouTube shorts, like 2 minutes long, of Ronaldinho's foot skills, or Kaka's foot skills or something like that. They're not really in it for the 2-hour games like we are every 3 days. 60
Right, and it's every game is not a watch party,
Yeah.
right? So people are like,
yes.
oh, to all their neighbors, they have commercials about it, right? Like they're
Mhm.
knocking on their neighbor's doors saying, hey, we're having a watch party. You want to come down?
Yeah.
And everybody comes down to their house and they have a big screen in the backyard or whatever, right? So go to the local pub, like, and everybody's there. It's packed because it's the USA or whatever. And seeing all these in these host cities, seeing all these fans empty the beer from the city because there's so many of them and that passion, right? You know, and some of these things we've talked about, how, you know, they like Buc-ee's, you know, and different people putting on their social media these fun things, a perspective of our nation, our country, and the people in it that hasn't been seen from the outside looking in. And now that people are here, they're seeing these things. So I think that, you know, all of this adds to the flavor of why people are getting sucked in, if you will. But I think you're right, Matt, that, you know, a lot of them, most of them, the vast majority of them are going to go away. But I think this sucked a lot of the air out of that balloon.
This match, yeah, this match definitely did that. Yeah, I can't see American fans being happy with what they saw. What was it? Was it really last night? Yeah, last night.
One thing they kept referring to about the Belgian team is the golden generation and the end of the golden generation. You had the tank, Lukaku, sitting on the sidelines coming in. You had De Bruyne sitting there getting like panned to every 10 minutes on the sideline. Trossard's over 30. You know, a lot of them are old. You look at this U.S. team, and they're in their prime years. You got, you know, more than half the team 27, 28 years old. This comes around in 4 years. They're in their early 30s.
It's not.
They're not going to be there. Tim Ream better not be there. And, you know, did we miss an opportunity with, quote unquote, our golden generation? Because the only one that's really going to be back in 4 years is Flo, maybe Dest, maybe Freeman. But is the rest of the team going to be there? I don't see it.
Tillman might be there. I think.
Yeah, Tillman's
he's
like 25.
He's
right?
young enough to do that. But yeah, I get your point.
Freeze.
Rania. Do we need any more Gio? No. No more Rania.
Well, I think that's pretty much what I have to say. I don't know if you guys have anything to add, but I hope all of y'all listening can keep some of those folks on board. And if they have to pick a team, don't be like Jack. Don't pick Aston Villa. Pick Arsenal.
Yeah, pick Arsenal. Listen.
By the way, Jack's bothered that Arsenal are going after the best player on Aston Villa. He thinks that it's crap. He doesn't understand how you can buy the contract of the player by the player when they just signed a new long-term contract. Enough money will buy anybody.
That's pretty much, yeah.
Does Lukaku still have the record for, based on all of his transfers, the most money spent on a player in the world in their career?
Neymar's got
Where is he now?
I think he's back in Italy. Is he back at Inter?
Okay, so one of the Milans.
He's over there somewhere. He's not with Christian, I don't think. I don't know. I haven't followed. I just know he was Italy, England, Italy, England, Italy. So, because he was what, Chelsea, and then went Italy and then Man United, or was it reverse of that? I think he was Chelsea first.
He was definitely Chelsea first. Him and Rob. Oh, those were some really one-sided battles.
It's interesting when you look at those Chelsea teams, because De Bruyne played for Chelsea for a minute, right? There's so many players that were on Chelsea that they got rid of, that then went and were like really good somewhere else. And
Salah was that, yes?
Yes.
Well, was that?
Well remembered. I mean, yes.
Yeah, there's just a lot of players.
Yeah. Like, what if you had those three all that
and
time?
You're the talent evaluator, and you say, we can get rid of these guys.
Yeah. I mean, Cole Palmer, they picked up Cole Palmer and so City let him go, but he's had, in my opinion, one good season.
Correct. Yeah.
Anyhow, we're off track. Yeah. So
tomorrow's the first day without soccer in the World Cup since it started. Yes.
yeah, and
Yes.
everybody's going to implode because we've had all these good games, like I was just talking about. And why don't we have a game today?
There's no game. Jonesing for a game.
So what was the best game? 16 round of 16 is over, right?
Yeah. Done.
So what was the best game for each of you?
My vote's Argentina. That was, entertaining beginning to end. The comeback, 2 goals down after the second commercial break, and to put 3 in the net within 10, 15 minutes. It got everybody on board.
Oh, yeah.
All the winners were crying. The losers were crying. That's got to be the game.
Yep. Everybody's crying.
Everybody's crying.
Everybody's crying. It's a Kleenex commercial right there.
Yeah.
It's England, Mexico for me, just because of what I was listening to, and I will never forget that drive. I'll never forget how the game was called. It's something that is stuck in the memory banks for sure.
Yeah, for me, it's England, Mexico. It's the unlikely win for England, period. But then the fact that they had to go half an hour plus extra time, a man down, and some of the substitutes that were made that just looked so questionable, and the fact that that they stuck it out. There's a British term for that, like sticking it out, and I can't remember what it is, but whatever it is, they did it. That for me might be the best game of the tournament so far. And there's so many to choose from, but the heart that they had to put in, and I mean, has a team a man down won in this tournament yet? I don't think so.
Oh, well, the U.S. were down a man against Bosnia, so they did manage that. But they were already ahead. I mean,
we did. Well, so was England.
I guess England was too.
But yeah, we did it better. You're right.
We did it better. I don't know.
Maybe not better. All right, that's what I've got. Good to see your faces.
Enjoy your day off tomorrow.
You're off?
Enjoy your day off.
Oh, enjoy my I don't have a day off, but yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, go find those Argentina games. I gotta watch the last 2. Cabo Verde and the one from today.
I want to watch Spain, but they've only scored so few goals,
and 600 so many passes.
Well, but also like they've scored just enough goals to win, and they've conceded so few goals that what's to watch in those games?
Zero. They've conceded 0. So I guess, is that why Raya doesn't get a game?
I don't know.
Because this makes no
What's
sense.
his name? Simone. He made some pretty good saves.
He did.
Game. Yeah, he made some pretty good saves. I can't remember the one in particular was like a dive that he had to make into the top right corner. As to him, he had to dive to his right up in the corner or something like that. And was it that game that he was like a cat and he made a save and then he had to go back the other way? I can't remember. One of the goalies had a double save and he just was he dived to his right and then he dived to his left and it was crazy. But yeah, anyway, I couldn't watch. I want to see a Spain game, but I can't because they're winning all these games 1-0.
Death by 1,000 passes.
Yeah, they're not the kind of 1-0 games that are exciting. They're kind of 1-0 games that I should watch so that I can fall asleep.
That is fair.
Maybe.
That is fair.
All right. Well, we hit the hour 3. We're going to put Jack at the end, in the beginning, so we're going to be way longer than I wanted. But again, good to see your faces.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.